All
Yeah,
right,
what
should
else is
we?
hitting different?
Is it the next article?
Is the next article, dude?
The
Okay.
next article. All right, so we got another one from the gamer Lu Hai Liang. Liang? All I know is I probably pronounced Lu Hai correctly though.
Good. Let's go.
So let's go. So this article is called "The Xbox Series S Can Apparently Run Out of VRAM." Once again, the less powerful Xbox Series S is extracting the wrong sort of attention. You and I talked about this maybe like last year about how indie devs have been running away from the Series S.
Yeah.
And we never had a clear reason why. They were just like, it's hardware issues.
Yeah.
Well, here's a little bit more background on what actual problems are there. So, Microsoft decided to do something very different for this generation. It decided to launch two consoles at once, one that took the crown for the most powerful machine, and one that was smaller, cheaper, and less powerful. The idea was to appeal to the hardcore gamers with the Xbox Series X and sweep up the more price sensitive with the other. It seemed to pay off, especially as pandemic lockdowns led to component shortages and unprecedented demand for consoles. The Xbox Series S was in greater supply, and Microsoft won uh, plaudits? Plaudits?
How do I have
Applauds?
no idea? Plaudits? I don't know.
Okay, how about we do this? One praise from industry analysts as it sold the S and Game Pass into homes around the world. But as this generation has rumbled on, there has been persistent chatter among owners. First, seemingly just background slides by tribal gamers, but now becoming more vocal that the Xbox Series S might have some issues.
Oof.
Yeah, we're not too surprised by that. We've actually talked about how some of these games just can't run. Like the indie games are having difficulty and all this other stuff. So let's get into it. So over on the popular gaming subreddit, one recent post about the Xbox Series S has attracted major interest. And in quotes, apparently the Series S can run out of VRAM. It's titled and illustrated the point with a photo of a TV with an Xbox error message. And the message was out of video memory trying to allocate a rendering resource. Make sure your video card has the minimum required memory. Try lowering the resolution and or closing other applications that are running, exiting over a frozen image of Borderlands 3. Whoa, that's nuts.
Oh, dude, that's just funny reading that when it's coming from a console. That's so good.
It's a true computer now. That's something you would only see on like PCs. Now
Yeah,
it's
no.
like this just happens on console now.
Try low the resolution. Oh man, that's
Oh
funny.
jeez. All right, so the article basically goes in to give context about what a VRAM is. So video VRAM stands for video RAM. It refers to any type of random access memory used to store image data for a video display, and its specific purpose is to ensure the smooth execution of graphics display. Looking at the specs of the Xbox Series S, it has 10 gigabytes of VRAM, of which 8 gigabytes are dedicated to games, with the remaining allocated to the operating system. In contrast, the beefier Xbox Series X has 16 gigabytes of RAM, and I'm sure the operating system only really needs what 2 gigabytes.
Yeah, if that.
Yeah, that is kind of significantly more. 4 gigabytes more is kind of nutty for VRAM. Um, so this seems significant, but it is important to remember that the Xbox Series S was always built to run games at 1440p at maximum, while the Xbox Series X targets 4K. Meanwhile, the memory issue related to the Series S is something Microsoft has known about, as the article from 2022 from The Verge attests, with the company attending additional memory to developers in order to ease the issue, extending additional memory. So I'm not too surprised by this, but I am kind of surprised by this, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, how do you handle that? Because to me, some people don't even know this, man. Like most of the time, you can't even see your Xbox Series X and S at 4K or 1440p because you need like a 2.1 HDMI port on your TV to make it actually work, or monitor if you got one of those. But we need to, side note, we got to get rid of HDMIs for consoles and go straight to display ports at this point.
That's what I'm saying, honestly.
But
Um,
but anyways,
dude,
um,
then again, Mike, what are you talking about? The HDMI standard is insane now. Do we use
it
it
is
on
pretty
like
nutty.
gaming PCs?
It has Ethernet.
Not really,
So
but you know.
No.
HDMI 2.1 is kind of correct. Just saying, HDMI is catching up. They were like 10 years behind, but they're on it, all right?
Yeah.
He's like, I
So
don't agree, but yeah.
so yeah, the Xbox Series S doesn't have enough VRAM. Basically, is the main issue. I thought it was going to be more along the lines of like computing hardware, like
Yeah.
with the AMD CPUs that it has. Maybe they just cheapened out. I didn't know it was like actual the VRAM, and yeah, I
Just
mean,
love it. It's like so. There's like a quote too, about the
oh, for
VRAM
the
issue
Reddit.
on Borderlands 3. It says this happens on Borderlands 3 all the time. That or just straight up freeze. That or a straight up just freeze crash. For some reason, it runs well on the Series S until it doesn't. Several crashes per lengthy game session. On Series X though, it's fine. He's like runs fine on the Series X, but yeah, they just didn't optimize it apparently on the Series S. So that's pretty
Uh,
funny. And
that's pretty tough.
that probably goes back to our point of like, they the Gearbox could be in that wheelhouse of like, they were making the game and they're like, dude, why do we have to develop this for a weaker console? So they just gave
Yeah.
up, halfway through and they're like, whatever, they get what they get. I mean,
To your point, you basically got to launch it with crappier graphics, but then I'm sure Microsoft is like, no, you can't do that. It's like,
yeah.
dude, you literally don't have the hardware.
I
So,
mean, I think this is this is kind of the right why they're I think this is a good reason as to why like console generations should probably just stick to one tier. Like I get the appeal of trying
yeah,
to make something like cheaper for a wider audience. But like in the end, like it's probably just an additional barrier for developers. It probably slows down the velocity that they can actually put games out. So it may hurt overall. So I mean that ultimately comes back to the decision of like, okay, do we actually like push back the limitations of our game for like cheap hardware? If Xbox was to say, let's just release like a $300-$400 console, may not be the most powerful thing, but it'll at least give developers one thing to focus on, so they can make the best product for that hardware. It's a weird balance, right? I think there's certainly appeal to having a weaker console, but it seems like devs just like are not caring about like the second option at this point.
well, there is something that like we can totally roast Xbox for though. Is why are they making it so like the GPU and CPU are different when they charge astronomical prices for expansion storage? You notice that?
It's true,
It's
yeah.
like why? And it's like proprietary. It
It's
has to be
proprietary, yeah.
Microsoft brand, like Seagate.
Yeah.
Like
And they
so
lower the
we
prices
charge
of the
more.
it's so
Yeah.
funny. After backlash, they're like, all right, fine, we'll lower the price. So it's like
Yeah, well, it came out, what was it, like another $150 or something for
yeah,
two
it's like
terabytes?
200 something, I think. It was a lot.
Dude,
200
are
something.
you
Now
out of
it's
your
under like
mind?
200 at this point, but yeah. Dude, it was a lot for their proprietary like storage upgrades.
Yeah, and they were just like, it's M.2 drive, NVMe. Like, okay, well, you can you can suck this NVMe. Like, come on, man. That's too much money for freaking storage on a console.
That's what I'm saying. But like you go to PC, I mean, for like $80, I'm pretty sure I got an M.2 and it's
Less.
like 2 terabytes. Like
Yeah, it is
it's crazy.
cracked. It's like super
It's
good, I bet.
insane, dude. Yeah, for real.
Yeah, but that's one of those things where you're like, Phil Spencer says he doesn't care about selling consoles anymore. It's like, but you care about selling storage, apparently. Like, the heck?
Well, it discourages people to buy consoles too, I think. You have like these
Oh yeah,
astronomical storage prices, right? It's like just get a PC.
yeah,
But then again, the PC
yeah.
ports are bad, which in turn, if it keeps being bad, it's like maybe I should just go console. Like it's an uphill battle.
This is why we just got to go back to the basics. Let's do retro.
That's why we go back to where it's good, where we know it works. You know what I'm saying?
I just stopped playing games that don't work anymore. That's
Yeah,
just how I am.
that's how you have to
It
be.
is a shame though with this Borderlands 3 being an issue. That shouldn't be that demanding of a game from such a well-established publisher.
It's true.
So,
Yeah, yeah. Borderlands is a
uh,
good series.
it is. It is. They know how to make games. So,
Yeah.